Hey y'all. Hello and welcome back to Healthy Spouse, Healthy House. My name is Tony and my channel focuses on health, wellness, and relationships. I believe that there are 15 different areas of health that any one person can work on at any point in time in their lives. So, every time I do a video, I invite you to come along with me as I go on this journey and as I talk about all the different areas of health, as I define each area, as I introduce each area, define each area, and give you like different things that you can do that will go under each area of health. Now, there will be some times like this video that wherein I will talk about, something personal and things like that, and different things that I believe that the Holy Spirit is showing me, especially in my life, because I do believe that when God gives you something, very rarely is it just for you and that's it. When He gives you something, that you should share it with other people. I absolutely believe that. And so this is something that I've been learning on my journey. And if you go back and look at some of my previous videos, you'll see that I do this often where I share things that, like, there are certain things that I'm going through and I'm like, okay, well, this has helped me. And I believe that this is a revelation from God. So I am going to try to help other people in it and in their journeys too. I'm still on this health journey. And although, y'all, I feel like I've fallen off, like, even worse than I have before in the past. Like, life has just been so busy. It's just been so busy. And I've been praying and I've been asking God. I'm like, Lord, help me figure out, like, I know I'm not going to be perfect, y'all. Nobody's perfect, but help me, please, Lord, please help me figure out how, when things do get busy, how I can actually, get it to a point where, I'm in a routine and I'm not going to break this routine up. I'm not going to, like, it's going to take a lot to really get me off, So I don't know. I've been praying, and I'm like, well, I've talked to my therapist about SMART goals and things like that. But there are times, y'all, when I tell you, I have a child in college. I have a child in high school, a child in middle school, and a child in elementary school. And so, like, all four of my children are in different schools at this point in time, and like it has been interesting, to say the least. My husband works, pretty much a demanding job, and sometimes the hours are very interesting, but we've gotten at a good pace with that. But it's it's still can be, when you have a demanding job and things like that, it's sometimes it can be a lot. And also, with my job, working with children and things like that. Actually, I started working part-time and I still do, but there are points and times where I'm doing extra things or I'm working more hours. Even right now, I'm working more hours right now, and so that has been very interesting, to say the least. And it's amazing when you love what you do. I do love what I do, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't take work. It doesn't mean that it doesn't take planning and things like that. Like, so, and I'll talk more about that, about this whole labor of love thing, where it's I love what I do. I love being a wife. I love being a mother. I love being an early childhood educator. I love what I do, but it does not mean that it doesn't require work. It doesn't require commitment, because it does. It requires work. It requires commitment. It requires time. It requires patience. It requires understanding. And sometimes, like, it requires just, it requires so much. And still, I love it. But it's a labor of love. There's labor that comes with it. So I kind of want you to get what I'm saying with that. Just because you get frustrated or upset or anything like that with any part of your journey does not mean that it's something, or not just your journey, but things that you do or love to do does not mean that again, you don't love to do it, or you're not happy with it, or anything, or you don't find joy in it. That's not what that means. It just means that it requires work. And sometimes, because we're not perfect, and because we are human, that we are going to get tired, frustrated, all types of things. So, hopefully that will encourage someone today that, it's anything, especially, worth having, your relationships and things like that. It's going to take work, y'all. It really is. And don't give up on it. Don't give up, especially, if it's something that that God has for you or has purposed for you, as it pertains to, maybe some of us are going back to school. Maybe some of us are saving up for a home or a car, or you have that business venture that you're going after and you're just being, you're just discouraged. And, no, it's a labor of love. You want to work on your relationship with Christ, and and sometimes it's hard to get to church or get to a place of worship, or maybe currently you're kind of where I am right now, where it's like you love the church that you were at before, but because of the proximity, you're now looking for a different place of worship, and you're kind of like in that space where you're like, oh, what, you're praying, just trying to get some guidance and things like that. So, So last year, definitely for me, was one of those huge years of many changes, especially with, like I said, my oldest going off to college. It's been interesting. And, and then my three youngest, well, the two of my youngest children, one graduating middle school going into high school, and one graduating elementary going into middle school. And then my, our baby still in elementary school, that a year of changes and firsts, and so with that, like, there comes a lot of trying to get acclimated to the differences and the changes, and okay, well, what do we do now? And all types of things that comes with that. And so there are three things, y'all, that I feel and I believe that God has been showing me that I need to do during this time, and probably going forward. Just remember these three things. Lastly, I just want to let you know, like, there was, a video that I had done before on desire, discipline, and determination. And, but, so I wanted to reference that video too, because that has helped me also. But also, so with this, during this time, God has shown me that, number one, I need to give myself grace. Okay? I need to give myself grace. Going from one thing to the next, whether it's a big change or a small change, you have to give yourself grace. You're not going to just get acclimated and, adjust That's not always going to happen, especially when that thing is huge, when that change is huge. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace, y'all, and try to give yourself some understanding, and give yourself time. All of that comes under that. Give yourself some grace to get acclimated. Take your time to figure out, okay, well, what works, what doesn't work. And don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when you have to adjust to things. Don't be so hard on yourself. So grace is the first thing that God said that I need, and I'm, that maybe you need to do for you, because, sometimes we are our hardest or our worst critics. I know for me, I'm definitely my worst critic. I'm so critical of myself. I don't even need anybody else to do it. I do a bang up job on my own. Next is space. Okay, so the first thing is grace. The next thing is space. Give yourself the space, right? And when I say space, I mean give yourself I'm thinking of it in a couple ways. So space, as far as give yourself the room to grow, the room to just adjust. Give yourself not only room, but give yourself time, right? Give yourself time. Give yourself the time to just assess the situation, rest, because, when I tell you that rest thing, for me, give yourself time and rest, okay? So that space includes that time and that rest to just sit and be able to assess your situations and try to figure out, different things. Sometimes in that space, you just, in that space, you just are quiet. You're just praying. You're just, you're quiet. I mean, to bring it plainly, you're just quiet in that time. Quiet. Space. Allow God to talk to you. Allow God to show you different things. Allow God to speak to you, during that time. So grace is the first one. Space is the second one. And then pace yourself. All of these are connected in so many different ways. So grace, space, and pace. Pace yourself. Because we be trying to do so much. We're trying to do so much because there's so much to do. Let me say that again. We be trying to do so much because there's so much to do. And sometimes you just need to just drop everything if you can. And that's why I was saying all of these are connected. Grace, space, and pace. Pace yourself. Say no to some things. Let people know I need a break. I need a break. Yeah. And that doesn't, and for some of us, it's so hard to do that because we want to always be that strong person and be the person that everybody can lean on, especially me. I have a bad hero complex, being, an eldest daughter and stuff like that. And, just, it's kind of bad, but no. And I still do that. I'm a mama bear. I do that, not even just to my kids, but to everybody or a lot of people. And I care so much. I care so deeply. And even in my relationships, which is why, that even affects my relationships. And I have to pace myself when it concerns people, because honestly, or when it concerns friends, my loved ones, and things like that. Because honestly, there are times where I get so deeply affected by whatever it is they have going on. It starts to affect my personal life at times. That has happened. And, I'm so concerned about them, or, worried and things like that. I've had to learn how to give those things to God, and then, kind of like, and give them to God, see if there's any way that I can help out, and then move on from there. But yeah, so those are 3 things, 3 tidbits that hopefully can help you. Maybe look up those words, and if you're a word girl like me, look up those words, see how it can apply to your life, how you can apply those things to your life, those thoughts, and maybe even look up scriptures that may help out with those things, or even with anything. But yeah, so y'all, remember this day, give yourself grace, give yourself space, and give yourself pace yourself. So may God bless you today, and may God bless you on this health journey. See you later.